Hey guys, today I'm doing my Q&A, probably over some gameplay. I don't really know what it'll be right now, but there will be some game. So yeah, like a week ago I asked you for a bunch of questions, and I got a whole lot of them, and I've selected kind of like 20 of them to kind of answer in the video, because 20 seemed like it wouldn't take too long, because I got quite a lot of questions. Some of them silly, some of them serious, but yeah, let's just get right into it. And the first one is from Lieutenant McMuffin. Where would you hide a body? I actually don't really know where I hide a body. I mean, I live pretty close to the River Thames, so maybe just in there. But I think if I were actually going to hide a body, I'd just drive really far away to like Scotland or something, bury it there, don't tell anyone I'm going to Scotland, and then in like a year when someone finds it, you know, it's like, where were you? It's like, I don't know, it was a year ago, but probably not in Scotland. So, yeah, that's a good one to start with, but yeah, so Scotland is where I'd hide a body. And the next question comes from K-Hip, which is, of course, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And the answer is, of course, as much wood as a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. The next question is from Max Light. Query. Tape, would you ever use subscriber designs in one of your main series on YouTube? Just curious. And the answer to that is yes. Probably actually already know this by now if you've seen Penguin's kind of intro to Kerbal Wars. Not Kerbal Wars, Kerbal Rising, that's what it's called. Kerbal Wars was an old series I did. But yes, we will be taking craft from subscribers for that, so spacecraft and other things to put on uncharted planets so that when we take them over we can battle some kind of space pirates, and that'll be all y'all. I think there's a channel on my Discord now, so you can just start submitting craft there and we'll go through it at some point. If you want to know the mod list, I think it's in Penguin's intro video to Kerbal Rising, so go check that out and then submit craft and stuff. So yeah. The next question comes from Phobos, and it's, why did you start doing series with Beardy? Well, it's really simple. He had a really good idea. I'd had a few collaboration requests, and one which I did do a while ago with the guy. But then he sent me a message and was like, I have an idea for a series, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of busy, but whatever. And then he told me the idea for the series, which was collaborative warfare, and I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. And then we started doing that, and yeah, here we are. So yeah, good ideas. The next question comes from Oathtor Potato. Team Cap or Iron Man? Iron Man for life, bro. Although actually in Civil War, Captain America had a way better point. Yeah, you know, the thing was, the government were all like, yo, you keep saving the world, but when you do, like, 50 people die. Or, like, I think the numbers on the screen were like 50 and 20 and maybe like 200 in New York. And it's like, yeah, but they saved the world. So, yeah, I mean, does have a good point, and I mean, actually the worst one in Sokovia, that was Iron Man's fault, and Captain America did stop a helicopter taking off with just his arms. So maybe I should be Team Cap, because he's kind of awesome, but no, I think I prefer Robert Downey Jr., so Team Iron Man. And the next question comes from K-Hip. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized donkeys or 1 donkey-sized duck? Well, that's usually horse-sized, but I guess donkeys and horses are similar sized. I'd go for the 1 donkey-sized duck. Firstly, duck-sized donkeys would be way too cute, because donkeys are cute as fuck anyway, and if they were tiny, it would be like, what? But yeah, I mean, the big duck, its legs probably couldn't support it, but even if they could, you know, I reckon I could. It's a duck. What's it gonna do? I just get behind it and punch it again. I'm gonna say the duck, mostly because I just couldn't hurt little tiny donkeys. So what, you a monster, man? The next question comes from Grenadier, and then just a bunch of numbers. What's a better caliber, 5.56 or 7.62? I think the consensus on the internet is that 7.62 is the better caliber. This, by the way, if you don't know guns, is 5.56mm rounds or 7.62mm rounds. Obviously 7.62 is bigger, but also provides more recoil. So, like, yeah, most people seem to say 7.62, but honestly, I think I'd prefer 5.56, although I've only actually fired 5.56 in my life, because I'm British, so there's not really a ton of opportunity to fire bigger caliber guns. But, yeah, I mean, it depends on the situation, though, right? If you're in, like, a urban combat environment, you probably want very little recoil to be carrying a lot of ammo and stuff, and also, the bullet goes faster, so bullet drop is less of a problem, so you don't have to have a really complicated sight on like an AK-47, you can just have it on like an M16 where you can just flip it up to like one distance or another. So, I don't know, I feel like 5.56 is more practical, but obviously doesn't have as much stopping power. Yeah. I don't know, that question got in my head and I was like, wait, which one is better? But yeah, I actually want to say 5.56. You know, you can carry more ammo, less recoil, less bullet drop, so you have to have less complicated sights. Higher velocity, get through armor better. Yeah, I mean 7.62 just has a little more stopping power, so yeah. The next question comes from Andem, and it's, what is your favorite episode of Black Mirror? I don't really know. There's a lot of good ones, but I think currently San Junipero or the USS Callister. I haven't watched all of Season 4 yet, so I'm not sure, but Season 3 was really good, but I have to say I most enjoyed San Junipero because it was nice. It was a flip around of kind of what Black Mirror usually is. It was really nice. And then the first episode of Season 4, which I won't spoil, but the USS Callister, it's got a lot of questions about, you know, being human, and a lot of fun visuals, and it's just great. I really like USS Callister. So yeah, San Junipero or USS Callister are my favorite episodes of Black Mirror. Next question comes from Jimmy Fear. And it's, what will replace RTC, if anything? So, Road to Colonization. So yeah, things will replace that. There will be a series in its place. It won't be a long series. I'm thinking, for a while, I'm not going to do any, like, really long kind of 50-episode series like I've been doing with, well, actually, I think Colonization was like 40, but still, it was kind of really long series. They take a while, and I want to do some shorter series. What will be replacing it will actually be coming out this weekend, and that will be a mini-series on with Realism Overhaul. It's going to have a fairly limited scope, which is kind of one main goal, and yeah, so I'm going to do that kind of thing for a while. I have a few ideas of like 10-episode series I want to do. So yeah, that kind of stuff. But yeah, Realism Overhaul will be the next thing, and I think that should be really fun. And if you want to know more about it, watch the video on Saturday. Or whenever it comes out, maybe Friday, but sometime after this. Yeah. The next question comes from Randomness, and it's, how much did you like Fall of Kerbin? I actually really liked Fall of Kerbin. I mean, it was, it took a long time to record, so there were bits that I didn't like when it wasn't so much when it crashed a lot, it wasn't too crashy, it just got very glitchy. So you'd fly a plane and all of its controls would lock up. And that happened extremely frequently. Or, you know, you'd drive into a city with a tank and it would touch a curb and explode. Or your ships would you try and vessel move them onto water and they just explode. And all of that kind of stuff. So that got really annoying. But I have to say, there was a lot more stuff that I liked in it than I didn't. The tank battles were just like really fun, especially the first big one on that ridge when I had 3 tanks versus penguins like shit tons and I just destroyed them all. That was really amazing. Urban combat was great, the dogfights were fun. The naval battles were long, but they were also interesting. And yeah, and strafing things like, yeah, it was just a lot of fun when it worked. I really did enjoy it, and I thought the videos were really fun, and I thought the rules were really good. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, but it was glitchy as shit. Whenever you mod a game to be a totally different game, it's going to be like that though, and it's just, yeah. So yeah. Next question comes from HankBlob7. What is your favorite KSP and non-KSP video on your channel? So I think my favorite KSP video on my channel is my 1 kilometer space station. It was just a one-off thing where I built a 1 kilometer long space station. And I feel like that was, I don't know, I feel there are a few things wrong with it, but I feel like it's my favorite KSP video because, I don't know, it was edited quite well, it was very concise, it did very well, it produced a really fun product at the end. I feel like my commentary was quite on point for that. Actually, interestingly, well, not interestingly, but anyway, when I recorded that, I recorded a really good commentary, and then I think I lost the audio somehow, or my mic had fucked up or something, and I was so sad because it was such a good commentary, but then I did it again and it was even better, so I really liked that video. And my favorite non-KSP video, there's quite a lot of them, but the one that springs to mind was quite recent. It's my GTA 5 van quest. Not a lot of people saw it, but if you go check it out because it's great. It's a video in Grand Theft Auto 5 Online where I just kind of I just fuck around and have like this quest to get my van and make my van awesome and just keep getting distracted and doing dumb bullshit, and it's just, I feel like it was good, it was funny, and also the editing. It was the first time I'd ever done like a proper 3-pass edit, which is when you go through 3 times editing it. I spent hours editing it, and it was just, the finished product I thought was really, really good. And if you want to go see that, go watch it, because I'd love to do more of that stuff. And yeah. The next question comes from ScottyBoy87. Have you ever been to Wales? By the way, if you're going, come to Barry. Yes, I have been to Wales. My grandparents live there, and actually some of my other family. So I, go to Wales all the time, pretty much yearly, more than that sometimes. And yeah, I've never been to Barry Island though. I hear it's, I don't know, it's the one in Gavin and Stacey. So is it nice or is it shit? Like, it's the thing with Wales, you know. There's Swansea, which is ugh, but then there's Cardiff, which is like, oh, this is super nice. Used to be shit, but now it's great. But yeah, I've I've never been to Barry, but I think my girlfriend wants to go to Barry Island, probably just because of Gavin and Stacey. And the next question comes from Latchy Harris. Where do you find your updates on SpaceX future launch dates info? Seems to be something I can only find out from people like you, Tape. Well, I just find out on Twitter. I follow lots of people. Scott Manley, actually. Just follow Scott Manley on Twitter. He's a pretty good source of old stuff space. But I also follow Spaceflight Now and NASA and SpaceX and Elon Musk. So I just, I get bits of information and just kind of know what's going on, sort of. So yeah, Twitter, it's one of the good things about Twitter. Twitter's got a lot of problems right now, but one of the good things is that you can keep up with space stuff. So yeah. Next question comes from Chris Haney. Hey Tape, if a synchronized swimmer drowns, do the rest of them drown too? Yes, but only if they're really, really committed. The next question comes from Navy Dude 44. What is your dream car? Should probably say like a Tesla, right? Because it's like good for the environment, it's cool, it's Elon Musk. But as much as I would like that as my practical car, my actual dream car is the Aston Martin DB5 Zagato, because it is James Bond's car, the old-timey James Bond, and it is the most beautiful car ever made. It is just the best thing ever, the Aston Martin DB5 Zagato. Next question comes from Slimehound. How do you stay motivated to work? I'm shocking at it and have to go to my grandmother's house to get stuff done. Yeah, that's a really hard question, especially when it's schoolwork. I struggle with that still, especially when it's revision. That's the hardest of all the things, because there's not an end point, you can always do more, and it's boring as shit. No one likes revising or really doing schoolwork, but you have to do it, and there's no like secret sauce to staying motivated. It's just about being really just kind of strict with yourself, having a schedule, because not only will you know when you need to work, you'll know when you can stop working, which is really important, because the problem with things like school is if you're not careful, it can kind of just go on forever, and you need to have a schedule where you just work in bits of the day and have maybe a break and lunch and whatever, but you just get the work done, and at the end at like 6 or 7 you stop, and for the rest of the night you can do what you want, because that should stop you procrastinating. It can help stop you procrastinating, because that's the biggest problem for motivation to work is, I'm gonna stop and do something else now. It's you've really got to not procrastinate during the day, because that'll turn 5 hours work into 10 hours work and make it feel like you did 3 hours work. So that's the other thing, is when you are about to stop and procrastinate and play a game or watch a video or whatever, you just got to stop for like 10 seconds and think about it, like really be logical with yourself about it. Just sort of think, this isn't going to feel good. I'm not going to enjoy playing this game or watching this video because I'm going to feel guilty the whole time. So you've just got to really, really stop and think about it. And even when you get that kind of burning where you're like, I want to stop, you just got to not do that and keep working just for another half hour, another hour, so that at the end of that, when you do stop and do something else, you'll feel good about yourself and you'll enjoy the time you have off, because procrastinating doesn't feel good. You've just got to be really harsh with yourself. And also, just having like a reward system is a good way to keep yourself motivated in a small way. Maybe for you that's like, if I do this for an hour, I can have some chocolate or some whatever. That's not really how I kind of reward myself. Like, if I want a chocolate or a sugary tea or a whatever, I'll just give it to myself because I have no self-control. But like, having the idea of the reward at the end, firstly you'll get a better grade, which always feels good, so that you can tell people, you can tell your parents and your grandparents or whatever, be like, hey, I got an A instead of a B, or a B instead of a C. And yeah, that'll feel good. Yeah, this is a really long-winded answer, but it's a really big problem not being able to stay motivated to work, especially on schoolwork. And the final thing to bear in mind, once you're doing all of those things, is just to think of it almost like orbital maneuvers, right? You put in 1 meter per second of delta V at Kerbin, and you'll save yourself 100 meters per second of delta V later at Joule, you know? Put it in KSP terms. So you do 10 hours extra work on your exams, or 20 hours extra work on your exams, just revising. And that could get you better grades, could get you into a better university, or college, or wherever, could get you a better job earlier, which could save you years in the future. So I know it's really hard to think about the future when you're in school, but just like think about putting in an extra 10 or 20 hours, and that could save you years in the future getting a better job. So yeah, those are all things I kind of thought of when I saw this question. Just having a schedule so that you know when the work's going to end, so that you know when you should work, and you know what you should be working on, so you're not spending half the time looking for what to work on. And then obviously just being really logical about when you want to stop, don't. Having some kind of reward system, be that, you know, chocolates, or knowing that you'll get to be like, hey, look at my fucking A, yo. And then just thinking about it like an orbital maneuver. So I hope that helps. That's the kind of thing I do right now. I'm working a lot on stuff I have to do by myself. So I just have a very rigid schedule. You know, I schedule when I get up, when I exercise, when I work, when I stop, when I YouTube, when I, you know, have a break. And yeah, it's working really well for me right now. So yeah, I hope that helped. That was a really long-winded answer, but I didn't want to give it like 10 seconds because I think it's like a really important thing. But anyway, yeah, so the next question comes to me from Papaya Guy 22, and it's, can you play Spore again? And the answer to that is, oh god, no. Spore starts off really fun, and then gets progressively shitter. The next question comes from Harry Rucastle. What do you personally enjoy playing in your spare time, and what are your plans for the channel's future? Please never stop making City Skylines rants, they are great. So that's a few questions, but yeah, the games I play in my spare time, mostly right now, RimWorld and Day of Infamy. That's kind of my two games I play right now, a strategy game, RimWorld, and a first-person shooter, Day of Infamy, which has been my favorite, probably my favorite game for like 3 years now. It's so great, it's so gritty, it's World War II, it's realistic, it's just perfect. And I do really like first-person shooters because I get quite good at them if I play them enough. And then RimWorld is just my current strategy game. That kind of alternates between RimWorld and Prison Architect and Hearts of Iron 4. Because I play all kinds of games as well. You know, I really enjoy GTA. I quite liked the latest Doom, Hearts of Iron 4, of course, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just play all kinds of games. But right now, you know, RimWorld and Day of Infamy. And then what was the rest? Plans for my channel's future. Like I said, more mini-series rather than long series. More one-off videos, kind of like the GTA I did, like the Day of Infamy videos, that kind of stuff, because I really enjoyed that. So yeah, and then I'll probably never stop making City Skylines rants to answer the last bit. I really enjoy doing City Skylines, not because of the game anymore, just because I get to talk for ages. So yeah. Anyway, the next question comes from Donald Trump. What made you start YouTube? What makes you keep doing YouTube, especially since the apocalypse and other bad things, other bad YouTube things? Well, I mean, starting YouTube, I guess it started when I started playing KSP and I was trying to figure it out. I started watching YouTube videos then, really. I didn't watch a ton of YouTube before that. And then, starting to watch more and more of that, I was like, I want to do this. This looks fun. I get to talk and play games and people listen. And that was most of it. So yeah, just kind of happened from KSP, really. And what keeps me doing it? Well, I just really enjoy it. Like, I like kind of performing. I used to, when I was younger, I did a lot of acting. So like, it's kind of like that almost. I just really like talking, and I really like the sound of my own voice. Unlike every other YouTuber. All the other YouTubers are like, oh man, I hate the sound of my own voice. It's like, nah, mine's great. And yeah, Apocalypse, it didn't hit me that hard. It's not like I really need the money, and I don't really care that much about money anyway. So it's not a big factor. It's just kind of like ooh, I do this and I get some money. And all the other shitty YouTube things, are there any people say things like, oh, I don't get stuff in my sub boxes? And I have been told that a few times, that people have been unsubscribed from me, or you don't get my videos in their sub boxes occasionally, but I never really see that personally, and I think it's the best platform, like, the only platform that you can really do this on. People complain about it because it's bad for creators a lot of the time, the demonetization thing, which really, I mean, what else were they going to do? Let all the advertisers leave? You know? People are just like, people can't look past that your stuff's getting demonetized, because if it doesn't, the advertisers will leave. And of course you can't manually review everything because there's too many videos, and it's actually a pretty good platform for users. You know, the videos almost always work. You get to subscribe to it's just an easy, free platform, and yeah, so I'm not too pissed off with YouTube, although it is annoying every time something gets demonetized. So the next question comes from Frank Lane. Tape, who is your least favorite doctor? I guess Bob Kelso. The final question is from Voldov. Are you and Beardy part of some big conspiracy? No. What did you hear? Well, what did he say? Hey, yeah. I think they know. No, I don't think we can just release them. Because they're bears, and they're on the moon. Well, just call up Hitler or Elvis or Tupac. They're already there.